girls. Now, this is your last chance. If one piece of candy gets past you and into the packing room unwrapped, you're fired.
Yes, ma'am.
I Love Lucy was full of laughs, but the real story behind the scenes was much more dramatic. Vivian Vance and William Frawley had a strong dislike for each other, causing constant tension on set. Frawley's battle with alcoholism made things even worse. Desi Arnaz also had his issues, including infidelity and heavy drinking, which led to his departure. Let's talk about the hidden conflicts and personal struggles that led to these actors leaving the iconic show, and how their real lives were just as complicated as the characters they played. I Love Lucy is a classic American sitcom that aired from 1951 to 1957. The show revolves around the lives of Lucy and Ricky Ricardo, a young couple living in New York City. Lucy, a naive and ambitious housewife, constantly dreams of making it big in show business, often dragging her husband into her outlandish schemes. Ricky, a Cuban-American band leader, is often exasperated by Lucy's antics, but loves her dearly. Their best friends and landlords, Fred and Ethel Mertz, are former vaudeville performers who add to the comedic chaos. Lucy's character is known for her comedic timing, physical humor, and relentless pursuit of fame. Despite her lack of talent, she remains determined to be in the spotlight, leading to hilarious situations and misunderstandings. Ricky, on the other hand, is the voice of reason, often trying to keep Lucy's ambitions in check. His Cuban heritage adds another layer to the show, with his occasional outbursts in Spanish becoming a running gag. Fred and Ethel Mertz provide a comedic contrast to the Ricardos. Fred is a grumpy, penny-pinching landlord, while Ethel is his supportive and slightly more adventurous wife. Their interactions with Lucy and Ricky often lead to hilarious misunderstandings and conflicts, adding to the show's overall charm. The show's setting in an apartment building in New York City adds to the realism and relatability of the characters and their situations. The addition of little Ricky in the second season further develops the family dynamic, adding a new dimension to the show's humor and heartwarming moments. The show was a massive success, becoming the most watched show in the United States for 4 of its 6 seasons. After the original series ended, it continued in a modified format as The Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz Show, later known as The Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. This version of the show ran for 3 more seasons, from 1957 to 1960, and featured hour-long specials instead of half-hour episodes. I Love Lucy is considered a landmark in television history and is still beloved by audiences today for its humor, heart, and timeless characters. Its impact on popular culture is undeniable, and it continues to be a source of laughter and entertainment for generations of viewers. I Love Lucy achieved remarkable success, becoming the most watched show in the United States for 4 of its 6 seasons. It made history as the first show to end its run at the top of the Nielsen ratings, solidifying its place as a television phenomenon. The show's popularity has transcended time and borders. As of 2011, I Love Lucy episodes have been syndicated in numerous languages worldwide, reaching a global audience. In the United States alone, the show continues to attract an impressive 40 million viewers annually, proving its enduring appeal. Even decades after its original run, I Love Lucy continues to capture the hearts of viewers. A colorized version of the Christmas episode aired in 2013, over 60 years after the show's premiere, and drew a staggering 8 million viewers. This demonstrates the show's timeless humor and the enduring affection that audiences hold for Lucy, Ricky, Fred, and Ethel. I Love Lucy revolutionized television production, being the first scripted show filmed on 35mm film in front of a live studio audience a technique pioneered by cinematographer Karl Freund. This innovative approach, along with its talented ensemble cast, contributed to the show's immense success and lasting legacy. The show's achievements are evident in its 5 Emmy Awards and numerous nominations and honors. Its impact on the television industry is undeniable, as it is often hailed as one of the most influential shows of all time. In fact, a 2012 survey by ABC News and People magazine voted I Love Lucy as the best TV show of all time, further solidifying its iconic status. The Writers Guild of America also recognized the show's exceptional writing, ranking it number 12 on their list of the 101 best-written TV series in 2013. This accolade underscores the show's clever scripts, memorable characters, and timeless humor, which continue to resonate with audiences today. One of the key figures in the show's success was William Frawley, who portrayed the character of Fred Mertz. Born in 1887, Frawley began his journey in the entertainment world on the vaudeville circuit, performing alongside his wife in a comedic duo. This partnership lasted until their divorce, after which Frawley continued his career in various roles. His Broadway appearances and numerous films showcased his dedication to his craft, spanning over 3 decades. By the time he took on the role of Fred Mertz, he was already in his 60s. This age factor played a significant role in his eventual exit from the show. Frawley's health was a constant concern during the production of I Love Lucy. Known for his heavy drinking, Frawley often faced health issues that affected his performance and reliability on set. His drinking problem was well known among the cast and crew, causing frequent disruptions. He would sometimes show up on set intoxicated or with a hangover, leading to delays in filming and additional stress for everyone involved. His unpredictable behavior due to alcohol not only affected the production schedule, but also strained his relationships with colleagues. The network executives and producers were aware of Frawley's drinking problem and his declining health, which made them apprehensive about his future on the show. Despite his talent and the critical acclaim he received for his portrayal of Fred Mertz, his off-screen issues were too significant to ignore. Producers had to constantly weigh the risk of keeping him on the show against the potential disruptions his behavior could cause. A significant factor contributing to Frawley's departure was his contentious relationship with Vivian Vance, who played his on-screen wife, Ethel Mertz. The two actors had a well-documented dislike for each other, which began early in the series' run. Vance, who was much younger than Frawley, resented being paired with someone she felt was old enough to be her father. Frawley overheard Vance expressing her displeasure about their age difference and took offense. This incident set the tone for their off-screen interactions, which were marked by constant tension and mutual disdain. Their personal animosity spilled over into their professional lives, making it difficult for them to work together harmoniously. Despite their on-screen chemistry, their off-screen relationship was fraught with conflicts. Frawley and Vance rarely spoke to each other outside of their scenes and maintained a professional distance. This strained relationship affected the overall atmosphere on set, creating a challenging work environment for the cast and crew. When I Love Lucy ended in 1957, the show transitioned into a new format called the Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz Show, later known as the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. This format featured hour-long episodes and ran for 3 more seasons. Frawley was not a part of this new format, largely due to his age and health issues, as well as the producer's desire to minimize potential disruptions. His health had continued to decline, and his drinking problem showed no signs of abating. The producers were concerned about his ability to handle the demanding schedule of hour-long episodes. Frawley's departure from the show was also influenced by the changing dynamics within the production team. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, the show's stars and producers, were going through a turbulent period in their personal lives, which culminated in their divorce in 1960. This personal upheaval had a significant impact on the show's production and the decisions made regarding the cast. With the end of their marriage, the focus shifted towards creating a more stable working environment, and Frawley's unpredictable behavior was seen as a liability. Despite his departure from I Love Lucy, Frawley's career did not come to an abrupt halt. He found success in another television show, My Three Sons, where he played the character of Bub O'Casey. However, even in this new role, Frawley was often recognized as Fred Mertz by fans of I Love Lucy. His association with the character of Fred Mertz remained strong, and he continued to be identified with the role for the rest of his career. Now let's talk about Vivian Vance's departure from the show. Her departure from The Lucy Show marked a significant turning point in the series. The show, a spin-off of the iconic I Love Lucy, initially retained Vance as a key cast member, playing Lucy's best friend and sidekick. However, after 3 seasons, Vance decided to leave the show, leaving many fans wondering why. There's been much speculation about the reasons behind her departure. Some suggest it was due to creative differences, with Vance desiring more control over her character and storylines. Others speculate that financial disagreements or a strained relationship with Lucille Ball played a role. Regardless of the specific reasons, Vance's absence was undoubtedly felt. Many fans believe that the show suffered creatively after her departure, losing some of the magic that she and Ball had brought to the screen. The dynamic of the show shifted as it moved away from the Lucy-Viv duo and focused more on Lucy's interactions with other characters, particularly Mr. Mooney. It can be argued that The Lucy Show essentially became 2 different shows: the Vivian Vance era, filled with the familiar chemistry and comedic timing of the 2 actresses, and the Mr. Mooney era, which introduced a new dynamic but lacked the same spark. Episode 84, Lucy and the Disc Jockey, marked a significant turning point in The Lucy Show. It was the last episode aired in the original format, with Vivian Vance as a main cast member. Vance had decided to leave the show unless she received more creative control, a request that Lucille Ball's advisors saw as a threat to Ball's position as the show's leading force. Despite the show being named after her, Lucille Ball ultimately decided not to meet Vance's demands, leading to Vance's departure. This decision would later be a source of regret for Ball, as she considered ending the show entirely without her trusted co-star. The separation between these 2 comedic giants was reportedly influenced by external factors. Lucille Ball was allegedly misled by advisors who painted Vance's desire for more creative control as an attempt to become Ball's equal. This miscommunication led to a breakdown in their relationship, with Ball feeling betrayed and hurt by Vance's perceived ambitions. An anonymous source revealed that Ball was deeply affected by the situation, expressing her confusion and sadness over Vance's desire to elevate her status on the show. Ball, allegedly influenced by advisors, misinterpreted Vance's request for more creative control and financial compensation as a power grab. This led to feelings of betrayal and hurt on Ball's part. In reality, Vance's intentions were far less sinister. She simply wanted to be paid fairly for her contributions and have more input into her character's development. The constant travel between her home in Connecticut and the set in Los Angeles was also taking a toll on her personally and professionally. Unfortunately, the 2 women never directly addressed their issues. Instead, negotiations were handled through agents and executives, leading to a breakdown in communication and ultimately Vance's departure. Had they talked openly, it's possible they could have found a compromise that would have allowed Vance to stay on the show. Despite the circumstances surrounding her departure, Vance and Ball remained friends and even reunited on screen for several guest appearances on later seasons of The Lucy Show. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, proving that their friendship and professional respect endured despite the temporary setback. The abrupt departure of Vivian Vance from The Lucy Show left a void that was difficult to fill. While the show continued with new characters and storylines, the loss of the unique chemistry between Lucy and Viv was evident. The decision to handle the situation through agents and executives rather than direct communication may have exacerbated the issue and prevented a potential resolution. It's interesting to speculate how things might have turned out differently if Ball and Vance had talked openly about their concerns. Perhaps they could have found a compromise that addressed Vance's desire for more creative input and financial compensation, while also accommodating her personal needs. Such a resolution could have potentially saved the show from the creative decline that some viewers perceive after Vance's exit. Now let's talk about another important character in the show. Desi Arnaz, born Desiderio Alberto Arnaz, Ideacha III on March 2, 1917, in Santiago de Cuba, came to the United States in the early 1930s after his family fled the Cuban Revolution. His early career in show business began as a musician. He gained initial fame with his band, the Desi Arnaz Orchestra, which became popular for its Latin music. This success in music laid the foundation for his future career in television. Arnaz's big break in acting came when he was cast in the Broadway production of Too Many Girls in 1939. It was during this production that he met Lucille Ball, who was also in the cast. They fell in love and married in 1940. Their marriage was a mix of passion and turmoil, marked by Arnaz's infidelities and struggles with alcohol, which would later impact his professional life. When Ball secured her own radio show, My Favorite Husband, it became the precursor to I Love Lucy. As the show transitioned to television, Ball insisted that Arnaz play her on-screen husband. Network executives were initially hesitant due to Arnaz's strong Cuban accent and his status as a band leader, fearing it wouldn't resonate with American audiences. However, Ball and Arnaz convinced CBS by performing a vaudeville act together, showcasing their natural chemistry and comedic timing. This led to Arnaz being cast as Ricky Ricardo in I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy premiered on October 15, 1951, and quickly became a groundbreaking success. Arnaz's portrayal of Ricky Ricardo, a Cuban-American band leader, mirrored his real-life persona. He brought authenticity to the role, integrating his musical talent and cultural background into the character. Arnaz's comedic skills and on-screen chemistry with Ball contributed significantly to the show's success. As a producer, Arnaz was innovative. He and Ball co-founded Desilu Productions, which pioneered the use of the 3-camera setup and live audience filming, techniques that became industry standards. Arnaz's business acumen was crucial in negotiating ownership rights for the show, allowing Desilu Productions to retain the lucrative rerun rights. This move proved financially beneficial and set a precedent in the television industry. Arnaz's role in I Love Lucy earned him critical acclaim. Although he never won an Emmy Award for acting, the show's success and his contributions as a producer were recognized with several nominations. I Love Lucy itself won 5 Emmy Awards during its original run, including Best Comedy Show, and Arnaz's role in its production was highly regarded. Despite professional success, Arnaz's personal life was tumultuous. His marriage to Ball was marked by frequent arguments, exacerbated by his infidelities and drinking problems. These issues often spilled over into their professional lives, creating tension on set. The couple's volatile relationship was an open secret in Hollywood, and their personal struggles became fodder for tabloid gossip. Arnaz's infidelities were a significant source of strain. Despite his love for Ball, his numerous affairs created a cycle of betrayal and reconciliation that ultimately wore down their marriage. Ball, who deeply loved Arnaz, struggled with his behavior, leading to frequent emotional confrontations. Their off-screen drama contrasted sharply with the loving couple they portrayed on television. In addition to his marital issues, Arnaz's drinking problem worsened over the years. His alcoholism affected his health and behavior, making him increasingly difficult to work with. His bouts of excessive drinking often led to erratic behavior on set, contributing to the growing tension between him and Ball. Despite attempts to control his drinking, it remained a persistent issue that affected both his personal and professional life. As the years went by, the strain of maintaining both their marriage and the show took a toll on Arnaz and Ball. The pressures of running Desi Productions, along with their demanding shooting schedules, added to the stress. Despite their best efforts to keep their personal issues separate from their professional responsibilities, the cracks in their relationship began to show. By the time I Love Lucy ended in 1957, Arnaz and Ball's marriage was nearing its breaking point. They attempted to salvage their relationship by transitioning to the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour, which ran from 1957 to 1960. However, the additional workload and ongoing personal issues only exacerbated their problems. The couple's efforts to maintain a facade of unity for the sake of their professional commitments proved increasingly difficult. In 1960, Arnaz and Ball decided to end both their professional and personal partnership. They filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The end of their marriage marked a significant turning point in Arnaz's life. The personal and professional pressures that had built up over the years finally culminated in their separation. After the divorce, Ball bought out Arnaz's share of Desi Productions, becoming the sole owner. Arnaz's departure from the company he co-founded marked the end of an era. Desi Productions continued to thrive under Ball's leadership, producing successful shows like Star Trek and Mission Impossible. Meanwhile, Arnaz stepped back from the limelight, focusing on other ventures and attempting to rebuild his personal life. Despite their divorce, Arnaz and Ball maintained a cordial relationship. They shared a mutual respect and affection that endured despite their tumultuous past. Arnaz continued to work in the entertainment industry, but he never achieved the same level of success he had with I Love Lucy. His post-I Love Lucy career included guest appearances on television shows and some minor roles in films, but nothing matched the impact of his work on the iconic sitcom. Arnaz's contributions to television extended beyond his role on I Love Lucy. His innovations in production techniques and his business acumen helped shape the television industry. The three-camera setup and live audience filming became standards, influencing countless sitcoms that followed. Arnaz's legacy as a pioneer in television production is firmly established. In the years following his departure from I Love Lucy, Arnaz faced ongoing health issues, exacerbated by his alcoholism. Despite his efforts to manage his drinking, it remained a persistent problem. His health continued to decline, and he faced several health scares, including a bout with cancer. These issues limited his ability to work and affected his quality of life. Arnaz's final years were marked by a quieter existence. He spent time with his family, including his children, Lucy and Desi Arnaz Jr., from his marriage to Ball. Despite the difficulties of his past, Arnaz remained a beloved figure to his fans, who continued to appreciate his contributions to television and his role in I Love Lucy. Desi Arnaz passed away on December 2, 1986, from lung cancer. His death marked the end of a significant chapter in television history. Arnaz's contributions to the entertainment industry, both as an actor and a producer, left an indelible mark. He is remembered not only for his role as Ricky Ricardo, but also for his pioneering work behind the scenes. Next up is Lucille Ball. She may be best known for her time on I Love Lucy, but the star continued to be a primetime television actress for many years after that show ended. After I Love Lucy, Lucille could be seen in The Lucy Show, which started in 1962. This show was followed by Here's Lucy, later in the decade after The Lucy Show ended. These three shows provided Lucille with a primetime television platform that allowed her to maintain stardom for 2 decades, and her stepping down from Here's Lucy represented her official retirement from being a primetime television star. There were numerous reasons that Lucille Ball was ready to call it quits after 6 seasons of Here's Lucy. Lucille had always been somewhat of a workaholic, but even she had her limits. After 2 decades of creating various weekly sitcoms and spending considerable time running Desi Productions, Lucille was nearly spent. However, she also wanted to start pursuing other endeavors. Around the time that she stepped down from Here's Lucy, she was preparing to promote the film Mame, in which she had starred. Lucille felt the feature might be her way to break into films, though it has only attained cult status since its release. By the time that Lucille Ball quit Here's Lucy, she had the longest run of any primetime television star in history, spanning over 2 decades. Other stars had stayed successful on television for many years, but none had ever maintained success as long as Lucille. The star likely could have kept at it if she had desired, but she had simply grown weary of her television days. However, it's also impossible to deny that ratings for Here's Lucy were not only lower than ever, but were also lower than any of Lucille's previous works. Although Lucille Ball stepped down from Here's Lucy, she agreed to maintain her relationship with the CBS network by appearing in various specials. Lucille had been considering giving up her role on Here's Lucy for several years, before eventually making the decision. The final episode of the show's 5th season was originally meant to be its last, before Lucille was talked into returning for another one. Despite the fact that Lucille had quit Here's Lucy, she was always adamant about not wanting to truly retire from working in general. Instead, the move just meant retirement from weekly television shows. Lucille continued to work in various capacities and actively promoted her film Mame. At around 60 years old when she said goodbye to primetime television, Lucille continued working after Here's Lucy ended, returning to television in numerous roles before her death in 1989. While new episodes of Here's Lucy were airing, I Love Lucy remained nearly as popular as ever in syndication. Lucille had created the show with husband Desi Arnaz in 1951, and it's impossible to deny that the seminal show stands as both performers' most successful work. The show continues to be popular among new demographics to this day, with a biopic about the production of the series starring Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball in the works. I Love Lucy is credited with being one of the first situational comedies on television and has proved incredibly influential in several other regards. The show was the passion project of its married stars, who created the series simply to give themselves starring parts. Each of Lucille's subsequent series was increasingly less successful than her and her former husband's original show. By the time Here's Lucy came to an end, it was only 12th in the ratings. Previously, the show had reached as high as 3rd in the ratings, maintaining one of the top 10 positions for its first 4 years. Although the network did not demand Lucille to end the show, these dwindling ratings likely didn't instill much confidence in the red-headed star to continue. Despite her declining ratings, CBS was still incredibly sad to see Lucille go after the end of Here's Lucy. Though she agreed to maintain her relationship with the network by appearing in various specials, the relationship was severely minimized. Lucille had been filming weekly shows for the network for the past 2 decades and could still pull in a reliable audience, even if it was growing smaller. Just before starting work on Here's Lucy, Lucille had sold Desilu Productions for $10 million worth of stock. The actress had previously been the production company's CEO after acquiring Desi's shares for $3 million following their divorce. While running Desilu Productions by herself, Lucille proved that she had plenty of skills to get the job done. During her time as the production company's CEO, she was responsible for the production of Mannix and Mission Impossible. 6 seasons of Here's Lucy ended up being produced, yielding a total of 144 episodes. Though the show isn't as popular as I Love Lucy, many Lucille Ball fans return to it once they've grown bored of Lucille's prior works. There is plenty to enjoy about Here's Lucy, not the least of which includes Lucille Ball's reliable skills as a comic performer. The show also featured relatively lavish musical numbers, given that it was filmed in front of a live studio audience. The show followed Lucille Ball as a widow with 2 teenage children, played by her real-life children from her marriage to former husband Desi Arnaz. In the show, Lucille's character takes a job working for the brother of her former husband. Lucille's character is reliably goofy, while her new boss plays the straight man throughout the series. While I Love Lucy came from a time before featuring big actors and actresses on shows as guest stars became a trend, the phenomenon was in full swing by the time of Here's Lucy. Both Here's Lucy and the previous The Lucy Show took full advantage of Lucille's clout in the industry to secure an impressive array of guest stars over their runs. Some of the most impressive guest stars included Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, whose episode of Here's Lucy performed higher in the ratings than any other. Another notable guest star was Jack Benny, a longtime friend of Lucille's who had appeared on her previous shows. The episode featuring Jack Benny is also notable for a cameo by Jackie Gleason as Ralph Cramden from The Honeymooners. Another episode featured a reunion between Lucille Ball and Ginger Rogers, who had previously appeared together in the 1937 musical Stage Door. The dance number they performed together on Here's Lucy was a touching homage for fans of both actresses. While Here's Lucy featured many iconic guest stars, it also had a unique crossover with Desilu Productions' Mannix. The character of Mannix appeared in an episode, allowing audiences to see Lucille Ball tied up next to the fictional detective she helped bring to the screen. Lucille formulated the crossover after Mannix's first season struggled in the ratings. Besides featuring popular stars and characters, Here's Lucy was also notable for including Lucille Ball's real-life children with Desi Arnaz. Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr. played Lucy's character's children on the show and cherished the opportunity to perform alongside their mother. A spin-off featuring Lucy Arnaz was even in the works towards the show's final days, with one of Here's Lucy's final episodes serving as a failed pilot. Lucille's children weren't the only ones close to her who appeared on Here's Lucy. The show also featured numerous guest appearances by Vivian Vance, who had become famous alongside Lucille on I Love Lucy. Vivian's appearances on Here's Lucy were emotional reunions for both the actresses and the television audience. However, Vivian's appearances were marked with sadness, as she was originally meant to be a regular on the show before being diagnosed with breast cancer. Vivian's final performance on Here's Lucy was the last time she and Lucille acted together on a television sitcom, although they did appear once more in a 1977 television special titled Lucy Calls the President. While die-hard Lucille Ball fans were devastated when the actress officially retired from weekly primetime television, she left behind a significant body of work for them to revisit. Although Lucille Ball was no longer the ratings draw she had been in years past, her impact on television remained undeniable. I Love Lucy continues to be a seminal show in television history, remembered and cherished by new generations of fans. Lucille Ball's career, marked by her groundbreaking work and enduring talent, continues to be celebrated, ensuring her legacy as one of the most iconic figures in entertainment.